Hi, Broncos country. I am back with two of my really good friends. Welcome to the Broncos crash out party on this Sunday. I don't think anybody wanted to spend their Sunday evening like this, but here we are, joined by David with David Talks Broncos and my man Kodiak with Kodiak Broncos. Kodiak, let's get this party started, man. We heard the news. The Broncos are they brought back Adam Trautman on an $18 million deal over 3 years. They also signed Nate Root Beer Atkins, and everyone's freaking out. I think rightfully so. Give us your initial thoughts on these moves.
Dude, so I don't care what Mike Kliss wants to say about fantasy football. There is no cop-out you could give me that rationally makes me realize that having the 6th to 7th highest paid tight end room in the NFL caps out at 500, 600 yards a year. I just don't get it, man. I don't get it, man. In a Super Bowl window, you need to churn over the areas where you're bad, not actively invest in your weak points. And it looks like that's what the Denver Broncos are doing. It's just terrible. Also, thank you, T Fishes. Thank you for waiting since 4:45 past Meridian over there in California. But holy cow, dude. Like, what are we doing? Okay. So not only did we re-sign Adam Trautman, not only did we re-sign 27% drop rate on 11 targets, Nate Adkins. I'm just like, what are we doing? Did we forget that we actually have Super Bowl aspirations? Like, come on, guys. In Dove Valley, I would just love to be a fly on the wall right now because I would love, I know Sean Payton's watching our internet shows. I would love for him to rationalize what he is doing right now. It just doesn't make sense. What do you guys think?
I'll tell you what, I was explaining this whole situation to my wife when we were driving home earlier tonight. And she said, wait, how can you lead when you suck at your job? Why are we bringing back all these leaders that suck at what they do, man? It doesn't make any sense. Hey, I know PFF grades, they are what they are, but dude, Nate Atkins, if for all the tight ends that had at least like 20% snap share or whatever, Nate Atkins, 23rd in run blocking grade, fine. I think he's overpaid at what's going to be $4 million, whatever. But Adam Trautman, for seeing all the glazing, our coaches and George Payton wants to do over it. Mike Kliss want to glaze all over this guy. All the other media heads want to call this guy a versatile, premier blocking tight end, man. This guy's absolute ass at what he's supposed to be doing correctly, man. He was 73rd in run block grade. And I mean, you can look at the film, you can look at all the low lights, man, of this guy just absolutely whiffing on blocks. We've talked about it in the Discord. We're trying to win a championship right now on the power of friendship. This is now becoming a Make-A-Wish team for good guys that are good locker room influences. We're going to be, this is not a movie. This is not a Disney Channel original movie. I'm trying to think of the other football movies. Man, all those other football movies, man, those teams suck too. Okay, Friday Night Lights, they didn't win it all. All right, I can't remember the Titans won it all, but they lost their captain. He died. Right? They lost too in that. So, dude, this is a losing mentality. This is a disaster. I was celebrating this morning, guys, thinking, you know what? Our organization, they're doing the smart thing. They're going to pick Justin Sternad over Alex Singleton. That's okay. No, it's looking like, man, these guys want to bring back great, big-time, elite locker room personalities and ass on the field play. For what reason, man? So that they can get rid of Evan Ingram and Dre Greenlaw? You talked about it, Mark. I'll let you have that moment because I don't want to ruin it for you. But dude, this guy is giving me major vibes. George Payton is giving me major vibes of another former Denver professional sports team GM, man, and I do not like it.
Yeah, no, well said, man. I think you guys both nailed it. It's frustrating, dude. It's so frustrating because and then I proceed to go on YouTube and I start watching all these other videos, like some of the national guys are talking about like fixing the Broncos in 5 minutes, but it's like a 20-minute long video. But, all they're saying is, this roster's been pretty loaded and, they were 30 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah. And it's like that mindset drives me so crazy it drives me so crazy because it's like, dude, just running it back and expecting that you're just going to be in the AFC Championship game is exactly the biggest loser mentality. And that's what we did, man. That's really what this is. But yeah, I mean, totally. You mentioned that you talked about it, this being like the Zeke Najee contract, like for the Denver Nuggets. And I think that you absolutely nailed it. Like, I don't get it. I think I gave George Payton a lot of credit. I've really actually not been very critical of him at all. But even today I said, George Payton is very good at like finding high value contracts, right? Like he's done that throughout the entirety of his tenure so far. And I get that, like the value, cool. Eventually you have to have high upside and take the swing and get those riskier players, those guys that can take you to the next level. And he's yet to do that. And it doesn't seem like he's really going to do a lot of it today. I mean, I think we're still making some splash moves in free agency, but I don't get it because it's like, I mean, NFL should be a meritocracy. It really should be based off of how well you play and not just about, oh, you're a really good locker room guy. Like, dude, there's plenty of phenomenal leaders that played or probably didn't even get a chance to play in the NFL. And no one cared. And so I don't give a shit how good of a leader Adam Trautman is. Like, he's just not good at what he's supposed to do. He's a blocking tight end who can't block. He gives you no receiving upside. And, to try to justify it with saying, oh, well, his market was going to be really strong. And to get him for $4 to $5 million is a good value. Like, dude, I would rather, and Andy said it in the chat, I would rather have signed Daniel Bellinger, whose stats are worse, for double the price than with what we're getting with Adam Trautman, because at least he can do something well. And that's what I'm sick of.
Dude, so Adam Trautman, this man, dude, he doesn't even average 200 yards a year. He has 4 touchdowns during his entire time here with the Broncos. That's pathetic. Kodiak brought it up. Right now, entering free agency, before these signings today, we already had, with a percentage of cap spent, top 10th in the NFL in what we're putting into our tight end room. And we're doubling down on that and saying, you know what? Let's go top 5 all in with freaking Adam Trautman, Nate Atkins. These are guys you can easily replace without having to give Adam Trautman $18 million over 3 years. And the man's career high in a season is like 263 receiving yards. Dude, this guy is totally ass at what he does. I don't know and I'm sick of the coaching staff, and I'm sick of of these media members gaslighting us, telling us that these players are good when we can see with our own eyes that these guys suck.
Dude, I think that is what pisses me off more, is the insulting of our intelligence, right? Trying to like convince us, like, you know what? Just if you're PR for the team and you want to be positive, fine. Just say, hey, they signed him. This is what happened. But don't be like, oh, it's a really good value signing, or these people don't know what they're talking about. Because it's like, dude, it drives me up the walls. Like, fans, especially like YouTube fan, like I'm not trying to like just have the backs of our YouTube community, but like, we very much know what we're talking about because we look at this team all the time. We don't just watch them on Sunday and compare them to the rest of the league. Like, we're looking at every bit of the roster, every move, always. And you can't try to convince us that somebody's good at something when they're not. And that's what I think pisses me off even more. Like, it's not Adam Trautman's fault. Good for him, dude. Like, let him get the bag. It's not personal towards him. I just don't think he's very good. And that's why I get really frustrated with it. But Kodiak?
He's not good. And like, David and I brought this up when we were talking about a certain guy who I'm not even going to try to say because my night has not been officially ruined yet. But, when we were making our video talking about that one guy who I'm not going to name, he said that, look at the Denver teams over the past 4 years, okay? For the Nuggets to win the championship, you had to move on from Will Barton. You had to move on from Gary Harris. You had to move on from Paul Millsap. For the Avs, you had to move on from Tyson Jost. You had to move on from Nikita Zadorov. You had to move on from all these guys, and we've seen that within our own city, a mile away from Empower Field, that, the guys who will not help lead you to a championship, You just got to get rid of them. And instead, we're actively doubling down. Okay. This would have been like the Nuggets, after the Jokic mega breakout, being like, all right, we're set with Paul Millsap. We're set with, Will Barton or whatever. And it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You had so much talent in this draft and free agency to upgrade both Trautman and Adkins. And now you only really have room for one of them. It's just mind-boggling, man.
Yep. No, it is, man. And I think that we all kind of know, like, the inevitable is going to happen. You see all these reports, right? I was thrilled with the Sternad news. I thought it was a good signing. I liked the value. I was like, cool, I can deal with Sternad, because I think we all were just happy that it wasn't going to be Alex Singleton. Well, now you got Mike Kliss and Luka Evans and all these guys coming out talking about the Broncos are working really hard to get Singleton back. And it's like, dude, I could barely handle this Trautman news. And then they add root beer vape to the list to that, and Nate Atkins. I don't know what kind of crash out we're going to have if we get news that Alex Singleton has been signed. We thought we made it. We were so close, man. We thought we made it, and we didn't. And, well, I can't say we didn't. We might not. But I just know, man, I'm going to wake up to the notification of, deadline deal, Broncos come to terms with Alex Singleton, whatever, blah, blah, blah. What do you, I guess, Cody, I'll start with you, man. Like, where would that make you go? How would you react to seeing that tweet coming out tomorrow morning? Or tonight? It could happen during the show.
Well, let me just put it this way. If George Payton were to sign Alex Singleton over the span of the next 12 hours, I would make Respect Mike Hose look like Broncos PR, like Mike Kliss. That's what I would have to say about George Payton if he were to re-sign Alex Singleton at this point, because, once again, it's just not serious, okay? And you're right, TW. MFs act like we can't criticize our front office, all right? I understand that you need time for deals to age, but, there is something to be said about, the process of the deal at that time, okay? And, yeah, I don't know. I just, seems like
Respect my coast. It just always has gold, man. My guy, shout out. Go follow if you guys don't already. Holy hell, it's the best.
Yeah, no. Respect my coast. I'm going to make you look like all class with what I'm going to have to say about George Payton afterwards if they were bringing back 49.
Yeah. David?
Man, I had another thought. Oh, yes. Okay. Try and explain this to me. I'm trying to figure out what the dynamics are right now in the front office between ownership, George Payton, and Sean Payton. Because we'll start with Sean Payton. Dude, this man at the end of the season fired a handful of his good friends because they weren't good enough. He just straight up said, we were too ass, they got to go, especially on offense, okay? Promotes Davis Webb. He says, hey, we led the league in 3-and-outs and punts again this year. Davis Webb, getting that Sean McVay vibes or whatever. I'm going to hand over the majority of play calling to him this year. So Sean Payton seems to be looking at this, or at least the way that he's speaking, is he's looking at the fact that we made the AFC Championship game as still being a hell of a lot far away from winning a Super Bowl. The way that he's making adjustments on his staff. What we hear from George Payton is this dumb stuff of like, does he literally only think running back, tight end, and linebacker were needs just because some of our players' contracts expired? Like, is he really that dumb enough to go into the combine and talk about how these are needs? Because apparently he just needed to re-sign all those horrible players back. Like, that's what he did. He couldn't see that on the field. And then I wonder kind of where does ownership? The Walton Penner group, I think they've done a good job so far, definitely, but they're still new NFL owners. We don't fully know them, right? We don't.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like the George Payton way of him doing things. I think he's smelling his own farts quite a bit right now. But it almost seems to me that there's a little bit of a power dynamic taking place. Because I just don't see how Sean Payton can fire his friends that he's known for years because they're not getting the job done. And then him say, you know what? Let's restructure Quinn Miners so that we can bring back Alex Singleton, Adam Trautman, and Nate Atkins.
Yeah. It's a good point, man. I mean, I think those two things are probably like separate. Like I do think we're gonna go out there and sign. Like we're gonna make at least a splash move in free agency. But you make a good point because Sean's the one that said it. Like that's why everyone's always like some people came at me in a few little Twitter comments or even in some comments on YouTube. They were like, dude, you guys won 14 games last year. Like you guys are loaded. Like, relax. And it's like, it's not even that I said that we needed to fix these rooms. Like Sean Payton said, every year we wipe it all clean and we start over and you got to look at everything, which I always said is the absolute right mindset that you have to have. But it's like, by doing this, you're basically just telling us that, no, we don't actually really do that. We're just good bringing back our guys. And the frustrating part about if they end up signing Singleton and Sternad back, this is like the deepest linebacker class in the draft, and God knows how long. It's a really, really good inside linebacker free agency class. So it was like a perfect opportunity for us to actually upgrade and bring other guys. And dude, we could bring in guys, right? We could have not brought in, signed any of our linebackers and signed 2 others, and maybe they could have sucked too. But I never would have been critical of it because I would have said, at least you guys went for it. That's all we want. We don't want to just continue being shitty at certain positions. It's the most frustrating thing. And I think it's even more frustrating when your team is actually really good and those are the weak points. Because it's like, man, you guys are holding all these guys back. You're making what could be an elite defense not elite. You're making what could be a decent above average offense putrid at times. And that's where I get so irritated by it. But yeah, I mean, that's my rant. I feel better. Thank you guys, everybody else in the chat. Is anything else that you guys want to add? Cody, is there anything that you want to add in terms of these signings? I know I can feel like you were chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
Oh, the thing I want to say is I feel like a year ago, I was on with you guys like every week. We were talking about, the Broncos need to upgrade at running back, tight end, and inside linebacker. And here's what we're fucking doing. Sitting here 365 days later, we're still talking about how the Broncos are needing to upgrade at tight end, running back, and inside linebacker. And I understood why they could or could not invest in certain positions with the lack of capital and with the lack of cap space. But what you're doing now is you're just being like, oh, okay, all the guys that we could not, replace, we are actively bringing them back and we are actively going to reinvest in them and they are going to actively hamstring our team. And we are probably going to be sitting here in September, October being like, man, guys, the tight end room fucking blows. That's what we're probably going to be doing. It'll probably be the bye week or no, around the trade deadline. And we're just going to be like, man, I would love for the Broncos to make a move for a tight end. And they're probably going to do fuck all.
That's a good way of putting it, man. And I'm glad Bronco Fan 99 brought this out. He said, you signed Nate for 1 year, but let's sign Adam for 3. And it's so funny because it's like we're talking about bottom of the barrel players anyways, right? Like they're just both not good. But I would have been a lot happier had we locked up Nate Atkins for 3 years rather than Trautman, because I feel like he's at least a better player. He's younger. We saw what he could do before he got injured this past season. Like, it's by no means a solution. But
he's
it
a better blocker than
they're
Adam
like,
Trautman.
you know what? No, let's sign them both. And you know what's even more annoying is Mike Kliss is coming on here kind of like sending little messages to Twitter and fantasy footballers and blah, blah, blah. Dude, he put the wrong picture when he put the Broncos sign Nate Atkins out. He put a picture of Adam Prentice. The guy, I don't understand. And maybe I'm just jealous because I'm very jealous of his job. I don't know how he's the insider. He doesn't know anything. And he just tries to spin stuff. And that's fine. But don't insult the intelligence of fans, And you see it all over Twitter. I mean, I'm not going to get into calling people out on here, but I just get so frustrated. But that being said, guys, I do believe that we're still going to sign a lot of guys. And I think it probably means that we're not going to address inside linebacker to the point where we wanted to address it. Maybe we get like a guy or a tight end here or there. But looking at it, try to have a little bit. I think somebody said serenity here, guys. Who was it? Richie Rich, was it? Let's try to at least add some optimism. Going into tomorrow, right? Free agency starts. What's a realistic move that you think the Broncos could make that you feel like, all right, this kind of is the beginning of redeeming yourself, if you will? David, is there anything that you can think
There's
of that
only
you're
one
like, wow,
player.
that would be a
There's
Dumb
only
and
one
Dumber moment?
player.
Huh?
There's only one player that can still turn this free agency into an A grade. That's Travis Etienne. He's the only one.
I agree.
He's the only one that you can get. I mean, you said it in your video today, Mark. He's the closest thing Sean Payton can get to Alvin Kamara, man. So go get him. But what I'm also worried about too is like, are we moving off guys like Dre Greenlaw and Evan Ingram to like keep these mediocre / horrible players like on our team as well? Like, we don't want to bet on the upside of what Dre Greenlaw can do, not having healthy legs hopefully this entire offseason, or what Evan Ingram can do with a new play caller at the helm. I mean, I feel like we're taking a very scared approach to what should be a Super Bowl window. No, dude, no, things are not going to be okay. We're giving Bo Nix the freaking Josh Allen treatment right now. Just go and win us these games, man. Just go and win us these games. And Travis Etienne is the only way I can give this front office an A grade in free agency this week. Yeah. It's the only way.
Yeah. Kodiak, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think if there's any way to salvage like the previous 2 days, if you're the Denver Broncos, what you have to do is you have to just sign Algier or Etienne. I'm basically in on either one. Also, you guys said David, you said we're giving him the Josh Allen treatment. James Cook rushed for 1,600 fucking yards this year. So I would be over the moon to have our running back rush for over 1,600 yards. But no, it's ridiculous. Like, I mean, I guess if there is anything to hang your hat on, if you're the Broncos, you still have one of the league's strongest defenses. And I guess Sean Payton still does consider that a part of the supporting cast. But man, it's just like, I don't know, man. And if you do decide to go with 49 and 40 going into this upcoming year, you're basically saying, all right, we were fine with the second half collapse on the defensive side of the ball. We were fine with, the problematic areas. We were fine with not covering tight ends or running backs because, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me? 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I guess.
He's doing the chant. Yes. And I see people, man. I see people, and I don't know if you guys are trolling Tyler Anderson and
dude, he's got to be trolling
Nick Sparks. There's no way on earth. You can say, "Oh, you guys are never played football and you've never been head coaches." Guys, you're going to lose this debate. I would even invite you onto the show if you really want to argue that bringing Alex Singleton back to this team is a smart move. You're not. There's nothing that you can say that'll like be able to convince anybody that like you're correct. It's like trying to convince me that the earth is flat. It's just not going to happen. So you can try with that. But anybody else? Sorry, Kodiak. I just have to get that off my chest.
No, you're fine. Like, it's just, I mean, we're panicking over like hypotheticals that haven't even happened yet. That should tell you what our expectations are based on what happened today.
And we see the writing on the wall, man.
You do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there is some writing on the wall. That being said, they could still salvage this day by not re-signing 49. Like, that's how I see it. Like, okay, I'll take Strnad back. I actually really wanted Strnad back. Or I wouldn't say I wanted, but I'm happy with him back.
Yeah, it was a great deal too.
Yeah, of course. But, if you're asking me if I'd rather have Trautman at 3 for 17 or Singleton at 3 for 30, I'll take Trautman. That's just the way I feel about it, because at least the offense, you have a basement floor sometimes. With this defense, if you don't reinvest into inside linebacker, you're just like, all right, cool. At least the 10 other guys can, make up for the deficiencies of that area.
Hey, I gotta ask this. Just gotta ask this. Okay. Singleton, we're bringing him back. It's probably going to be something dumb, like $10 million a year, right? It's really going to be what Zach Stevens was freaking out about all week. Oh, he's going to get $30 million. This evil smile. But okay, so you got $10 million a year for freaking Alex Singleton. You got Nate Atkins at $4 million probably this year. And then you got Trautman at $6 million. Now, guarantees, cap hits, but just for the sake of exercise, that's $20 million of salary right there. Why are we just not bringing back JFM?
Dude, I'm so happy that you brought that up. I actually am, because I was driving earlier to go pick up some dinner, and that's exactly what I thought about. I was like, you could have easily just, whatever the cap hit for this year and next year is, it's easily would have been exactly that. You're absolutely correct. You nailed it. And I thought what Kodiak had said too, it was a good point, because, you know, the thing about like the strength of our team is our defense. And when you have a glaring weakness within the strength of a team, it's obviously magnified because you can see it. Like on offense, you can look at a lot of different areas. Like we don't have a true wide receiver one. Our running game sucks. To be able to point towards the offense being inept. But defensively, it's very simple. It's very clear. Where is the weakness on our defense? Alex Singleton. Why do they teams start to figure them out later in the seasons? Because quarterbacks get their hands out of the balls quickly to guys that are in space when a linebacker, aka Alex Singleton, is covering them. That's just how it happens every single year.
Or how about how we can never stop a scrambling quarterback? Because Alex Singleton needs to be the one to bring down a scrambling quarterback. He's too slow to do it. That's why they run all over us.
And it's not like he's getting younger. That's what drives me crazy. Like, he's 32 years old. This is the worst age to invest in players, especially at linebacker.
Yeah.
You know, like people were like, don't bring who was it earlier that was going to, there was some receiver, don't get AJ Brown. He's getting hurt and he's getting close to 30. Like you get worried about this guy's already, he's been in his 30s. Right. And I don't care if somebody's like, well, he had his best year this year or whatever you want to say.
No,
like,
he didn't. He didn't.
It's the same thing as saying, oh yeah, you could just expect for Garrett Bowles to continue playing at an all-pro level for the next 4 years. So let's give him another 4-year extension and guarantee more money. Like, it's crazy. But at least Garrett Bowles is all-pro. But still, it would be crazy. So it's like, dude, if Alex Singleton was 26, I'd say, okay, maybe. But like everything is going against it. Like I don't even know where to begin, man. It drives me.
Dude, who are we even bidding against for the services of Adam Trautman? Like, let's get to that, man. Like, what made Calvin Booth such a terrible GM was that he was just constantly bidding against himself. I mean, you guys have probably seen that video of when he offered the Suns that trade to move up for Deron Holmes, and then 2 minutes later he called again without anybody else calm. They were expecting to take that trade. And he adds another second and another pick in there. Dude, that feels like, who the hell is thinking, let's give Adam Trautman a 3-year, $18 million deal and see if the Broncos can give some incentives to get it up to 19.5. Who are we negotiating against?
Nobody.
Who are these other teams?
You know who you're negotiating against? You're negotiating against Adam Trautman's agent, who is currently like, hey, guys, do you want your good locker room presence? Hey, guys, do you want the guy that has, passed on his knowledge of your system? Like, at a certain point, on-field play needs to be taken into account. And, this is not a team actively making moves as if they were 30 minutes away from the AFC Championship. It's just not. You re-sign your culture guys when your team blows. Like, that's just what you do. You still need to have them be part of not only the solution, but when you are finally good, they get to live out their glory days like Bowles and Sutton did here. And you are just, I don't know, man. It's just like, Sean Payton went to the podium during the combine and said, we had 11 score games. I'm not naive enough to think that could have flipped around. But think about how many 1-score games you would have not been in had you were not, having tight ends that couldn't run block, tight ends that couldn't catch the ball. Nate Adkins, he got 11 targets this year and he dropped 3 of them. Like, come the fuck on, dude. Come on.
And how many more games will we won by double digits if Alex Singleton just isn't getting absolutely daddied by all these quarterbacks? Just run them past him, man. We couldn't contain these quarterbacks, man. If Alex Singleton isn't on the field against Buffalo, we don't even need him to come up with that forced fumble, dude, because Josh Allen isn't going crazy, man. That's how I see it, dude. Now, Denver Trav says, can you give me a response? Didn't Sean do the same types of things in NOLA? I mean, I guess I don't follow the Saints nearly as close, obviously, as the Broncos. But one thing Sean can, hang on to is that he won a Super Bowl and his players were just better than what he has here. They're just better.
Yeah, at the tight end position, he had not only I'm trying to think, Cook, that tight end. What was his name? Something Cook? Jared Cook. He had Jared Cook. At running back, he had Alvin Kamara. And he also hit on a generational draft class where he got Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Trey Hendrickson, and then there was somebody else in there. And then they got Juwan Johnson as a UDFA. So at the running back and tight end positions, they were way better than what the Broncos have right now. Now, the defense wasn't as good, but still, man.
Dude, and this pisses me off too. Now that we're talking about New Orleans, does this all but take away the opportunity for us to sign Taysom Hill?
Oh, I don't actually think that it does, but that's kind of the problem. Is it's like, okay, we signed Taysom Hill, cool. Like,
cut Evan Ingram.
He should have been part of like the entire rebuild from the bottom up, huh?
Oh, I was saying, what if we cut Evan Ingram to sign Taysom Hill?
Oh, dude, I mean, at this point, who knows what's gonna happen? Like, I don't know. It's wild, and it's so funny because don't even get me started with Kliss, man. He's talking about John Bates. My head's just kind of spinning and going everywhere when you're comparing guys. But anyway, so it's official now. Per Mike Kliss, they restructured Quinn Miners, so that's cool. I just got that. So we know that's going to happen. So we're going to have a little bit of money. I know, David, you had mentioned Travis Etienne. I think that would be like a nice way to almost get us back to the A+. That would make up for a lot of the crazy nonsense that's happened today. I still feel like they're going to make a splash move. I think it's going to be in the wide receiver room and not in running back, and that's probably what's going to tick a lot of people off. But Cody, do you have any ideas now? Do you feel like, other than Travis Etienne or Tyler Algier, like is there anybody that's not a running back that you'd be like, all right, realistic? Because I don't think Devin Lloyd is realistic at this point.
Right. Cody,
No, he's not. But Leo Chanel, if we were going into this upcoming year with Strnad, Greenlaw, and Chanel and a rookie, I would be like, holy cow, that is a substantial improvement from what we had this past year. And I mean, if you're going, I mean, we still could sign one of Kohler or Bellinger, but I think that's out of the cards now because, once again, you actively hamstrung yourself. Like, if Kohler or Bellinger signed for less than 3 for 17, I'm going to fucking lose it. I'm going to lose it. And I know that they are going to the open market, but listen, there's 32 teams vying for their services. Not one where, if you're Adam Trautman's agency, you're just negotiating against a guy that doesn't have eyebrows. That's as easy as it gets.
Dude,
well, the thing about it too, man, what's funny is, so Kliss mentioned John Bates. John Bates is like the premier run blocking tight end, or like, up there in terms of what he got. And with the Commanders last year, he got a 3-year, $21 million deal. I think Charlie Kolar is going to get north of that because he is an even better run blocker. Like, that's just what he does. And so that's probably going to be the ballpark that he'll get into. Daniel Bellinger, I don't really know, but how would you guys feel, man? Like, let's say we signed Charlie Kolar and then we addressed tight end in the draft on day 2.
So we got a draft pick, Kolar.
It's basically
Trautman,
the same room that we had with Charlie Kolar.
But
we're keeping 5 tight ends.
But not
because I don't listen. I mean, Nate Atkins 1-year deal, 4 and change. Like, he doesn't have to make the team. You just eat the dead money and you move on. It's not gonna kill you.
No, but with Kolar, at least if you have a blocking tight end like him, he can actually block. Okay, imagine if our blocking tight ends could actually block. What a concept that would be. Okay,
that would be a crazy concept.
Now,
it'd probably make Evan Ingram's job a little bit easier because then he could just focus on getting open.
Yeah,
instead of and also having to try to make up for the other tight ends shitty blocking, and he's a terrible blocker too. But to his credit, that's not really his MO. So it's crazy. Like, when you talk about someone like Evan Ingram, who's like known to not be a blocker, and he's arguably just as good of a blocker as your blocking tight end, you've got a severe problem in a room.
Yeah, like and you still won't put him on the field more just because we got to have our blocking tight end out there.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I will say this, Mark, and you were the first guy to start this fan club. And it's kind of sizzled down. But I still think Alec Pierce can be a legitimate number one, man.
Yes.
And if we
Absolutely.
sign him, he's probably the only receiver. I know that I think I've kind of cooled on Wandell a little bit, but I'd be okay with that. But it seems like he's going to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
But if we sign Alec Pierce, man, he fits in the room, and I think he can be that number one.
Yeah. And it would be a massive overpay. I know it'll be a massive overpay, but I would at least appreciate the hell out of that signing because you're getting a very explosive, fun player that could genuinely elevate the room and help everyone else. So Alec Pierce would be fun, man. I feel like it's going to be one of those signings that like not many of us are talking about, but it's probably just going to end
what would it be? I don't even know.
I don't know. Maybe it could be a trade still. Maybe they're still in the market for a trade.
Oh, I know what it is. PJ Locke. We still have to sign him back.
Oh, yes, you're right. He's a really good, very inspirational locker room guy too.
Oh my God.
You're right. We do.
Oh
3 years,
God.
18 million probably. We'll just stay consistent and sign everybody. That would make sense.
But yeah, man, I'm worried that we're just gonna, we're just giving out Make-A-Wish contracts because we like these guys. Like this kind of reminds me of like Mike Shanahan keeping his shitty coaches around and because they were his friends and he wouldn't fire him. And that was part of his undoing, which led to his firing, right? He just too loyal.
Yeah.
I want to be an optimist about this, but I can't even spin it. I can't even spin it. Adam Trautman has done nothing to earn this deal.
No, yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. So do you believe that like these deals are going to directly affect like what we ultimately do in free agency?
I think so.
Or do you think like the Broncos had a plan and this is not going to veer them off from that plan?
I don't see us signing a tight end now.
Yeah.
And okay, the only other thing I see happening is maybe they we do sign K. Dotton, but it comes at the expense of cutting Evan Ingram. Okay, but then you're just eating more dead money. I don't know, dude. There's just so many band-aids on this tight end room right now.
It's been like that for
you're
years.
Only making it worse. And it's like there's going to be dead money. Hopefully, when we release Adam Trautman in a year, it's if you're going to have dead money, at least let it be on big swings for some guys like. We managed through the Russell Wilson thing fine. That was a big swing. But what I can't tolerate is dead money with guys that we knew sucked, signing them to guaranteed deals, man. This, again, man, this just feels like Make-A-Wish. It feels like Disney Channel movie stuff, wanting to win the Super Bowl on the power of friendship. And it just reeks of settling for, almost there is this group is good enough, dude. This group probably wouldn't have beaten the Seahawks, man. Let's be honest about it. There's no way our offense moves the ball on that Seattle defense, man, with how they played against New England. So, dude, somebody in that front office obviously feels a little too good about the roster that they've assembled because they're not the champions, man. They have a ton of work to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, man, like, I don't know. I look at it like I love the fact that like George Payton and this Broncos team, they built this culture like paying their guys early before they hit the market. Like they had so many good deals. So like credit there, but you've got to find a balance in that. Like you can't just, okay, that's what we're about now. Like you've established the culture. Good job. You've done a great job turning the team around. It's very different now than it was 2 years ago when we were just trying to get to being able to compete again. Like this is a very unique opportunity for us. And you can't just keep on settling and running it back and thinking, especially with guys getting older. That's what drives me nuts. But I highlight this Jalen Naylor comment because as funny as it sounds, this is probably like the type of wide receiver that I can see the Broncos actually.
Oh God. Yeah. We always sign
like
one
similar
shitty
to
wide
Trent
receiver.
Sherfield last year, right? It didn't work out with Trent, but like they're going to go after the bottom of the roster guy. And Jalen Naylor actually made a lot of plays when he got the opportunity to, but they're going to try to sell it like that. He could play teams. I can just see it on the wall now, dude. It's as clear as day at this particular point.
Dude, if our premier running back signing is Kenneth Gainwell for like 3x10, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and also one thing I want to bring up is, Lil Jordan Humphrey was cut from a 4-13 Giants team that was littered with injuries at the wide receiver position. So what we needed to do this upcoming offseason was position ourselves to where we didn't need Lil Jordan Humphrey, and he wasn't an integral piece of making this offense work. Also, I made this point during my show with Miles a couple Friday nights ago. So, guys like Jaleel, guys like Trautman, Jaleel got 3 years here. He might get re-signed still. Trautman is going to get 4 and more years here. Lil Jordan Humphrey got at least 2. But they got 2. Like, there are some other trash cans that have gotten a lot of years here. And I can't believe we're sitting here talking about 2 former All-Pros and Greenlaw and Ingram potentially getting just 1.
Yeah.
Positions we've sucked at forever.
Yeah. That's so hypocritical. That's so hypocritical, man. The good players we keep on a shorter leash. Because you know what? Their attitudes, I don't know. They're not writing encouragement cards for everybody to start the day.
Yep. And guys, you sent me this earlier, David. Where did the Broncos rank in terms of a tight end room and how much money that they're paying their tight ends? 10th in the entire NFL. And that wasn't even including bringing Trautman back. So it's like so mind-blowing that we're a top 10 spender at the position. And easily, if not the worst, top 3 worst tight end room in the entire NFL. It's great. It's absolutely insane.
Man,
absolutely insane. Man.
Guys, we need John Elway back. Because John Elway knew what to do once you had a Super Bowl caliber team, right? He knew how to put the final touches on a roster. He knew how to, pull the trigger. That's the one quality he
didn't know how to build it, but he knew how
was good at as GM, man. Couldn't find a quarterback, but when he had everything else in place, that man knew how to bring in the finishing pieces on a championship winning team. We need his aggressiveness, not this passive, eyebrowless gaslighting we're getting right now that, the only needs we have are there are players that aren't re-signed, man. What is this? Dude, am I just giving too much credit to these guys? Thinking that they have just even an average level of intelligence, man. Like, Justin Sternad should signal that you're moving on from these scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, man. Dude, think about that offseason with Elway when he said, "Screw this! I'm sick of having a bad defense."
Yeah, no.
Aqib Talib, Darian Stewart, T.J. Ward. Why am I forgetting? Dude this is embarrassing because he's like one of the best players ever. And
DeMarcus Ware.
Demarcus Ware. All like in a 2-hour span. I never forget, dude. I was getting notifications and I was like, "Am I dreaming? This is crazy." And it's like, if it doesn't work, man, we can say we went for it. And obviously it worked out, but that's kind of what I want to be, that rather than be like, hey, Isaiah Likely or Kate Otten's available. Like, no, we're good. We got Adam Trautman, like that's so embarrassing.
We're sorry, John Elway. We're sorry for kicking you out the door. We're sorry, man, for cursing your name. You're the GOAT.
Yeah,
we pray to you. We need your spirit as free agency hits.
Yeah.
We can't be no bitches in free agency.
Exactly right. Exactly. Hopefully that's brings something. But Cody, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for you. What would Wesley Woodyard and DRC have gotten in after the 2013 season had George Payton been the GM and Sean Payton been the head coach? God, you probably don't get a key. You probably just hamstring it yourself for running it back with your guys.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, that's a good point, man. It would have been funny to see. They'd have been like, Dominic Rogers, come on. I mean, he's a great locker room guy. He's someone that we didn't want him to leave. Eventually, man, it gets to the point where it's just like you get sick of it. And here we're going to be here again, dude. Mark my words. First couple weeks of March next year, 2027, talking about the exact same things. How are we going to fix the tight end room? How are we going to fix the inside linebacker room? And are we going to have a wide receiver one? That's been just constantly.
It's the same shit every year, man.
Constantly.
I'm going crazy. Gregory's here. Gregory, how do we fix this team? How do we fix this team, Gregory? Get in here.
Yeah. Yeah. We need right now, we need Gregory Miller, bro. More than anything.
He's a better GM than George Payton. Just negotiating against themselves for these contracts, man.
Yep.
And some of these contracts aren't aging as well as maybe we thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Sutton one,
not a shocker.
Not looking good. Who are some of the other guys that we've re-upped? I'm trying to think.
I mean,
Palcho looked better when you thought you were moving on from Ben Powers, but okay, we can pay a backup guy $6 million or whatever. That's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Gregory. No, ban him.
Oh, so
ban him now.
Sometimes I feel like Gregory. I feel like he's like the like a burner account for somebody. Like he's either a Sean Payton burner, or Alex Singleton or something burner, or maybe like a Mike Kliss burner because he's like that's saying the same thing that they've always said. Like, calm down. They went 14-3. They're fine. They can just sit on their hands and add a couple pieces here or there. Like, dude, the most loser mentality. I hate that mentality so much, dude. It drives me crazy.
What if we capped off free agency by re-signing all these guys, and then on top of it, we traded away 2 draft picks to have David Montgomery here?
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't even forget about that. We almost lost a 5th-round pick and added an $8 million a year contract for a running back with the 9th most touches currently amongst active players in the NFL, who was like getting like a 20% snap share in the back half of this past season.
Absolutely dodged a bullet.
Dude, imagine that paired with these moves today.
Yeah, we'd have been crushing it, dude. We'd have been crushing it.
The only thing
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a true crash out, though, man. It's a true crash out, and hopefully for Horsepower Hour tomorrow, we'll have a lot more positive things to be able to bring to y'all. But I right now I can't, man, because it's tough. It's tough, and it is one of those things where I get free agency hasn't started, but these moves tell you a lot about the direction that the team's probably going to go. And sure, they can make a splash at running back. There's not really a splash to be had at wide receiver, so it kind of is what it is. I was hoping that there could be, or there maybe somehow will be, to where that could offset a little bit of the tight end woes that we had, but it looks like it's just going to be same thing at inside linebacker, very similar wide receiver room. Tight ends are not going to be very changed, and we upgrade running back, but like cool, because that's awesome. But running back's very easy to upgrade. Like it's not a difficult position to do so, but
I can't believe
I guess that's what we're
back
gonna
our backup tight ends, Mark. I'm sorry. I can't believe we brought them back.
I know.
They're so
I know.
bad.
Wait,
it's
David, insane. I got to stop you. Lucas Kroll has not been re-signed yet.
I heard they like him, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I tweeted something out a couple of days ago saying, "What is the hype meter if the Broncos re-sign Lucas Kroll?" And I was just getting flamed in the replies. But no, why are the first signings we're announcing Adam Trautman and Nate Adkins? Okay, I get Sternad, but why are the first re-signings that we're announcing, Locke if we're able to do it, J.K. Dobbins if we're able to do it? At least that would have gotten the fan base a little bit excited heading into tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Now I think tomorrow has been ruined and it hasn't even started. It's 3 hours away from starting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's I don't get it, man. And like again, going back to the PR spins, like you only have these PR spins happening on social media when they're not popular signings. Like if the Broncos signed Travis Etienne tomorrow, nobody's going to try to convince us that it was a good deal. We're going to be like, hell yeah, I don't give a shit what the contract is. Awesome. They're just going to basically say that. But to try to sit there and say, to compare to this guy, or, he's much more versatile and he's got more production. And it's like, dude, shove it up your ass, bro. Like,
oh, dude, Ben Albright. Really interesting watching disappointed reaction from Broncos fans as they tried to keep together a team that just went to an AFC championship. Dude, this guy acts like, man, we're moving on from Pat Surtain or something like that.
I know, exactly. And he acts like the AFC was so loaded this year and it's not going to be loaded next year. And we're not going to have a first place schedule next year. Like a regression is going to probably happen in terms of the regular season. Like, I'll break the news now. We're probably not going to win 14 games, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that we can't win a Super Bowl, but we had a lot of room still to improve, man, and things are going to get harder, and you're not going to win 11 one-score games. You're not. If you're in 11 one-score games next year, you might win half of them.
Exactly.
That's what drives me crazy. It's like, how can we get better? Because everybody else is always going to try to get better.
Yeah, of course.
Like, you think the Patriots and their fans, and even though they went to the Super Bowl, you think they're saying, oh yeah, no, we're good, let's just run it back with the team that we have? Like, no, they realize that they have glaring holes. Everybody does. Exactly. Everyone has glaring holes.
And the AFC, like, come on, outside of the two teams, like the Jets and the Steelers, those are the only two teams I could say are completely dead in the water this upcoming year. All right. You have the Titans, even the basement teams like the Raiders, they're drafting Mendoza. They hired Clint Kubiak. The Titans hired Salah and Dable, and they have the number 4 overall pick. Maybe Cleveland too, but Monken's a heck of a hire too. So, the Steelers, they hired, what's his name, McCarthy, and the Jets are just the Jets. Other than that, this AFC is going to be a dogfight, man. You can't rely on the Bengals, defense being that garbage for the 3rd year in a row. You can't rely on Lamar getting hurt again. You can't rely on the Chiefs going 6-11 after they've been in 5 out of the past 6 Super Bowls. So yeah, you can't just rely on that. You can't just be like, all right, we're set with everything. And like, Mark, to your point, we might be the only team in the AFC that's, not making these moves right now.
So when you did bring this one up.
Which one?
I'm sorry, Mr. Hydrate. But come on, man. Come on, man.
Trautman at fullback? Trautman at fullback?
Come on, man. You've seen this guy. You've seen this guy run, right? Come on now. Come on now.
Oh, that's a funny ass comment. I'm not gonna highlight it, but
you could turn him into Rob Gronkowski. I mean,
dude, even the way Trautman talks pisses me off, man.
I know.
He's like
zesty. Him and Singleton, man, they don't give a shit if they lose. They don't care, man. Their lives are great. They're stealing money from the Broncos and the Broncos fans. I understand, Mr. Hydrate. You're trying to stay positive with this, but yeah, I'm sorry, Mark. I'm taking over. I'm freaking out. Sorry.
No,
man.
You're good. You're good. Logan killed me with that comment. That's so funny. Just crashing out. It's hard for me to like stay on schedule and read the comments and all that too, because my brain was my ADHD hella kicks in then. But
yeah,
no, that's funny. But man, again, like it's I've always had this weird feeling the Broncos are going to make this crazy splash move that I think everyone's going to be excited about, and I don't know what it is, and it's going to be like I don't know why. Again, just the feelings don't usually mean shit, but unless it's like usually women usually have the right feelings. I don't think my wife cares, but I mean, we'll see. But again, man,
I don't know. My wife seemed to be pretty disappointed. Again, she says, "How can you lead if you suck?"
She nailed it. Mrs. Talks got it. She understands.
Mrs. Talks got it.
Oh, guys, I just saw a response. Like, this is George Payton and Sean Payton cooking. This is a response to a guy who said they were cooking right now. George Payton and Sean are cooking them. The game is like a kid burning.
No shit. That's a good way of saying it. And it's crazy, man, because like even though free agency hasn't even started yet, there's teams in our division getting better, right? Like, I mean, the best thing that I think the Raiders could have done is get what they got for Max Crosby, right? Because they weren't going to do shit without at least taking a swing. But even the Chargers, man, the Chargers went out there and they signed Tyler Biadasz, which was a big move for them. They got Alex Ingold today. They got like a couple of free agent available early on. Like they're already kind of starting to cook. The Chiefs are going to revamp a lot of the things that they got because they made the trade with McDuffie. But it's like it's wild. At least they're doing something.
Dude, Shy said it great. Broncos are getting worse.
Yeah, they are. Okay. Your defense by default was not going to get better this upcoming year, just losing the 4th or 5th best player on the defense, in my opinion. And a guy who's had a pivotal role, honestly, on the defensive line. So, yeah, guys, I guess I'm just one of these guys who just hates Adam Trautman, right? He talked about how he doesn't care if we're in our mom's basement drinking our 7-Eleven Slurpees. Well, I don't have a 7-Eleven Slurpee. I have a Pellegrino, but I know he says he doesn't care about these internet shows, unlike his head coach, who definitely watches us because he blocked David on Twitter. But yeah, I guess I'm a hater. If Adam Trautman wants to label us for criticizing the team as being a hater, even though I know that comment was directed at Bo Nix. I guess I'm Demon Slayer 69 I'm not in my parents' basement, but I'm in my room at my parents' house drinking Pellegrino and talking about the Broncos and criticizing the team.
Demon Slayer. Dude, I was tripping for a second. I was like, what the hell? Who is this? Somebody infiltrate our chat.
Yeah, we need
I
to
forgot
channel
about
that
Demon Slayer
spirit,
69.
man.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, Adam Trautman, if you find this, no, we don't want you on this team. Do not sign that contract. I know you've agreed to it, but you can still back out on it, man. We don't want you here. Go somewhere else where you're wanted. I don't know what NFL team would want you, though. That's the problem. But we don't want you here. We don't want you here.
And dude, think about it. Like any smart agent would be like, if it was true he was going to have a lot of strong offers, then the agent would have been like, we're going to hit free agency because there's going to be a lot of strong offers. They took that deal because they weren't going to get anything close to what he just got offered, man. Not even close. I guarantee it. I wish there would be a way for us to know, but no team is going out there and breaking the bank for Adam Trautman or Alex Singleton. Nobody. There's not a team that's going to do it.
Dude, we're bringing back, all these guys just to see A.T. Perry go to the Steelers, man. You know?
Mm-hmm.
We're losing all our high upside players, man.
Everybody. Drew Sanders. Somebody said Drew Sanders, 4-year, $22 million contract. And in a really crazy world, that would have been a lot more interesting to me than bringing back Alex Singleton. Even though he's done nothing in the NFL, that at least would have been something that I'd be like, well, what the hell is, I'm excited to see what's going to happen if he can actually stay healthy. Rather than, I know what the hell we're doing. That's cool.
It's all over. Good game. That's how it feels tonight, Mr. Hydrate. That's how it feels tonight, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well,
insane stuff, man. Insane.
Have we moved
Any
on
other
from
thoughts?
Dowdle?
Anything else that you guys wanted to?
I'll say this: there are two players that can salvage this because we know that Evan Ingram and Dre Greenlaw are going to get cut. So, whatever. If you sign Devin Lloyd, I'll take it.
Yes,
I'll take it.
Yeah, if the Broncos don't end up signing Alex Singleton, I think that would be a really big win.
Yes,
you're like, all right, and
grade
we'll see
goes
what
up
we end up
if he's not a
allocating
Bronco
that money,
tomorrow.
but that would be like, all right, at least we're trying something different in that room, and let's see if we can go, elsewhere. So that'd be really interesting. Devin Lloyd would be awesome, man. Devin Lloyd would be legit.
Give me hope again. Go after some top tier talent, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, this ain't rocket science, man. We're signing all these scrubs back when we could just have JFM back. What are we doing?
What if the Broncos tomorrow? What if their two signings? I'll put a hypothetical game are Tyler Algier and Romeo Dobbs. It's realistic.
Cool. I mean, it's cool.
It's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. I'm happy with an Algier, man. I'm happy with Dobbs because, even though you're reinvesting into the horrible tight end room, at least you're trying to build something to where, in spite of your horrible tight end room, you can at least try to make it work. All right.
Yes.
Now, why are you running it back with your horrible tight end room? God knows why. Because, David, you had said, go somewhere where you're wanted. The problem is, how many NFL teams would actually want these services of Adam Trautman on their roster? How many NFL teams would actually want? I'm not going to say nobody would want Nate Adkins, but what NFL front office in their free agency meetings was just like, you know what? 3 for 17, 3 for 21 for Adam Trautman. He fits the room. He fits what we need.
No, I'm telling you, nobody. That's the best part. For sure. There'll be a lot of teams that would sign him to a vet minimum. He'd be the 53rd player on the team, or if there's injuries, fine. Okay. But nobody, there is definitely not a boardroom discussion, I guarantee, where Adam Trautman got brought up. They're like, hey, dude, if Denver ends up not signing him, which, it's pointing like they won't, we should have a plan for him. Nobody. No team. That's the frustrating part. That's where I think I get really, really irritated and upset with. But, I mean, I guess it's done, and it kind of is what it is.
Dude. Yeah, this is a great point, man. We're signing these scrubs back. We're not re-signing PJ Locke back either. It's just
he made a few too many plays when
Yeah.
Brandon Jones got out to not warrant.
Yes, this is what
You
I
know
was
what I mean?
gonna say. I mean, I thought we're giving out all these Make-A-Wish contracts to all these like nice guys that actually like don't care about losing or don't care that they suck and like all this stuff. You know, when Alex Singleton just got absolutely destroyed and targeted against the Jaguars all game in that blowout, he said, "You know what? They're not gonna rain on my parade. You know, I don't even care. I go home. You know, he pulled the whole LeBron James. My life is amazing. It's like it didn't even bother him that he got exposed, right? He didn't vow to come back and say, you know what, I sucked. I take responsibility and I'm going to be better from it, man. You never hear Alex Singleton talk like that. You never
No,
do.
never.
You never hear Adam Trautman, you know, talk like that. But this is what I don't get, man. Okay, I understand why you bring back those guys because, you know, you just love their personalities, man. What are we doing with Nate Atkins, dude? What does he bring to the locker room?
Root beer
Nothing.
vapes.
Root beer vape.
Vapes. That's
Flavored-
bad for the team.
Flavored air.
That's
Flavored
bad
air.
for the team, man.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. Like, you know, he was like, you know, we're 12-3 right now. We're not going to let you guys shit on our parade. What parade were you throwing that you were able to beat the Green Bay Packers? What parade were you throwing that you were at a 12-3 football team? Like, that was your captain talking. I just want to put that out there. That was your captain talking. That was your captain setting the example for the young guys. So now all the young guys, when Alex Singleton inevitably gets that extension, are going to be like, oh, shit. Okay, we don't have bigger aspirations than I guess going 12-3 and getting blown out by double digits on our own field by a very hot conference rival. Like, come the fuck on, dude.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. I'll give you guys another hypothetical then. All right. So the Broncos sign Brian Robinson Jr. and Juwan Jennings.
Flaccid.
You got to have Chubb at least in there, David?
I mean, Juwan Jennings is cool, you know? Yeah, I'm cool with Juwan Jennings.
He kind of makes more sense than Romeo Doubs at this point because, like, he actually plays like, dude, he's a wide receiver and he plays blocking tight end better than any of our blocking tight ends. That I can literally have film to prove it to you. So at least he'll be able to help there, and it would make sense. But I mean, realistically, those are kind of some options of what I see happening in terms of
what. Yeah, I think.
Well,
I don't know. Would I rather have him or Kenneth Gainwell? Probably. I mean, did Brian Robinson have a good year? I know he probably didn't get many touches behind CMC. Like, was he good?
He was pretty solid. He had some impressive film when he was with the Commanders, though. Like, he's actually a pretty damn good back.
Why, when you're the Commanders, you guys suck? What are you doing moving off of him? They had
That's
nobody
kind of the
after
question too,
Eckler
though.
went down, dude.
That's the big question. It's to be his third team in 3 years, and like, I mean, the Commanders were at least at that point. That was like before their new owner and all that. They were a horrendously ran franchise, but that is weird. Like, why did they get rid of him? They invested a pretty high pick in him, and then they just move on from him. Is weird, but I think he's a really like underrated, maybe one of the better value signings. But how sick are you about hearing about value signings for the Broncos, huh? Isn't it like the most annoying thing in the world now?
We got the richest owners in football, and we're not.
Like, I'd much rather be like, dude, we overpaid so much for Alec Pierce, and I'm here for it, bro. Like, that's the conversation I want to be having tomorrow. No, we paid way too much money for Devin Lloyd, but like, holy shit, we know what he can bring. You know, like I want to have one of those conversations. I'm not saying we need to win it every year. The Bears was always the team that would like win free agency, and the Jaguars, and they sucked for a really long time. I'm not saying we have to win, but I just want one signing where I'm like, yeah, we probably overpaid, but dude, this could be really fun. That's what I want.
Yeah, at least, I mean, with Trautman, we're not just sitting here like we probably overpaid. We're sitting here like that was quietly one of the worst contracts we've seen get handed out. Like, across the Broncos regime. Like, when was the last time a contract was this bad at the time of signing? I don't know. You guys know history better than I do, but this is, at least with moves like Juwan James, at least I remember the fan base being like, all right, we're trying to solve the right tackle problem.
Exactly.
We were happy for Tim Patrick. Was he worth that?
At the time, I thought he was.
Okay.
And it was nothing. I mean, it was like
30 was like nothing.
Yeah. And it was like wide receiver one money between him and Sutton combined at the time. And so, like, yeah, it made sense. And plus, like, you know, that's a 3-year deal. is like a 1.5 year commitment. I mean, you could really get out of those deals usually after year one. But this one just the Trautman deal, even though you probably could get out of it after next year, just reeks of we're gonna run it back in the tight end room. And that's what pisses me off more than the initial contract itself. I'm not worried about the 18 million and it hindering us in the future and being a pain in the ass. Like again, you can move on from that contract, but it's like, what is it preventing us from doing in that position or room? That's driving me crazy.
Also, one more thought about Patrick. He had like, I think 750 yards with Shermer and Bridgewater. So he was coming off a pretty darn good year for what he could have given us given the situation. But yeah, no, you're right. There is a game of opportunity cost in the modern NFL. All right. Mark, I know you're still in on Jade Barron, but at a certain point, like, opportunity cost is a thing. And, you are still looking at like, all right, what could we have done with that 20th pick? And not to say that any of those guys we could have had would have been a solution. And I'm not calling Barron a bust or anything like that, but opportunity cost is very real in the NFL. All right. So you go to the podium in April and you're just like, all right, cool. So we have all these guys listed on our tight end depth chart. Oh, we don't need to attack that now. But what happens if Sadiq falls to you at 30 and you already have 4 tight ends on your roster that you've, paid or whatever. And, you sign another one to a second contract. I don't know, man.
I'll tell you what happens. We have a need at backup safety.
One thing to their credit is they haven't really drafted needs with the first round pick, aside from the Bo pick, obviously. So, it would actually, if Sadiq did fall and we had 7 garbage can tight ends, we would actually probably draft him at that point. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a good point though. It's the same thing of like, let's say you were in on Kate Otten or Isaiah Likely, like you start negotiating with them tomorrow, and then it gets to like $1 million more than what you're initially going to pay. You could easily justify and be like, well, no, we have Trautman, so at that point, it's not, we're not gonna pay it. Like those kinds of things can happen, which is crazy.
Man.
And yes, I would trade for Brian Thomas Jr. in a second. I would give up the 30th overall pick for him.
Absolutely.
Easily. I would give up Cortland Sutton and the first round pick for Brian Thomas Jr. That's how good I think that he is. And that actually legitimately solves your wide receiver room immediately.
Could you highlight that comment from 5280 Playbook? Personally, 3 years for only $9.5 million guaranteed is not a bad signing, especially one that can block. Buddy, if you think Adam Trautman can block, I got news for you. All right.
Yeah.
Let me find this graphic. Wrong. You guys pick it away. You guys take it away, but I'll screen share. All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of these. I know.
All right, y'all. Behold. You say Adam Trautman can block. Yeah, he can block. He can block amongst the worst in the NFL. All right. Mm-hmm. 8 blown blocks. Okay. 1 holding penalty, 1 face mask penalty against the Colts that took us out of field goal range and led to Bo Nix throwing an interception in the red zone. We lost that game by 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. And we could have easily kicked a field goal had Lutz still been in range on that drive. So if you want to say Adam Trautman can block, congratulations. He is blocking like he is one of the worst tight ends in the NFL. So if that's your standard of can block, then yes. I mean, your standard of can block is can be on the NFL field during a blocking play, but can he be an impact blocker? No, he can't. He can't. Yeah. Why is this run game so trash?
And you know what pisses me off the most about this whole list? Charlie Kolar is an unrestricted free agent, and he's sitting there at number 1. 243 run blocks, 0 blown blocks, 0 stuffs, 0 holding. Absolutely phenomenal.
Look at where John
and
Bates
then you had Mike Kliss comparing. And then you had Mike Kliss comparing Adam Trautman with John Bates, who again is up the top of that list with just 1 blown block. Jackson Hollis, who's a rookie, who I would have loved for us to draft in the 7th round instead of Loner. Look at that. 310 run blocks. He had the most of anyone on this list. And he only blew 1 of them.
Dude, Mitchell Evans was another one. Well, I guess he kind of sucked too. Gunnar Helm, he'll get better.
Yeah, but
it hurts to see Darnell Washington right there below Adam Trautman, I must say.
Listen, all these guys like Pitts, all these guys like Goddard, though, at least they're hoopers. They're not NFL players, all right? They make their money in the receiving game. All right. If Troutman's supposed to be a good blocker and he gets like 10 catches a year, then what is he good for if he's blowing all these blocks? And what
And I
good
don't
is he
think he
for?
plays teams even.
Yeah,
You know
no.
what I mean?
What good is he for if he's at the bottom of the list? Okay. Darnell Washington, fine, whatever. But Kyle Pitts, we know he's not a blocker. Cade Otton, like, I don't know. People are trying to sell me on his blocking. You're not going to fucking do it. Goddard.
But at least Cade Otton can stretch the field and catch. Like, at least you have that.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the thing. Like, damn, look at the Bears with Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. But yeah, like, dude, like, that's why I don't think anybody was on Evan Ingram's ass last year, even when he was shitting his pants blocking too, because we all were like, this isn't really his forte. He's not supposed to be doing this. It's frustrating because he is being told to do it, but he shouldn't be. Crazy. I hate it, man. I hate it. If Adam Trautman was good at blocking, I would have been totally fine with this.
Dude,
100%.
They have gotten that narrative out so much about him over the last 3 years that everyone just believes it, that he's just a good blocker.
Yeah.
They're not even watching him.
Yeah, and I don't need graphs like that, like to justify it, because that honestly, I was surprised it wasn't worse when I saw it. But dude, so often you just see Adam Trautman just absolutely whiff on blocks, and sometimes to the point where, like, does he even know what's going on? And other times he just gets absolutely manhandled. Like, it's not good.
Dude, if Adam Trautman, this is a good comment by Denver Trev, has the second best drop rate on the Broncos. Any thoughts on that? Well, I mean, he's not a receiving threat, which is so ironic out of the whole thing. Like, that's why we're not throwing. That's why he's never had a season over 207 yards here or something pathetic like that. Dude, he's just not. He's a zero-dimensional tight end.
Literally. I still wonder, like, what did Greg Dulcich say to Sean Payton? Because, like, I've never seen a plug pulled on a player so quickly after, like, he at least showed something his rookie year. Then he missed the entire year with a hamstring injury. Finally gets healthy, drops 2 balls, and they cut him. But Nate Atkins, man, like, drops 3 out of 11 balls thrown his way, is injured the entire season, and he gets rewarded with a 1-year deal for $4.5 million. And then they give, $18 million to Trautman, who's never made a play ever. I mean, he's made one good play since he's been a Denver Bronco. Literally, there's just been one good play.
I don't agree with the fact that there are better options, or don't disagree with the fact that there are better options. However, when given the opportunity, he can catch. Well, if you're getting 15 targets a year, then I'm glad you can catch. All right.
Dude, if that's the case, if this is actually true, which I don't think it is, but fine. If you believe that, then you should not want him blocking. You should want him being your receiving tight end or going out for more routes. And so even if that were true, it's annoying because it doesn't happen. That's kind of the point.
We're paying him like he's a premier blocking tight end. That's why
and he's not. Exactly. Like
we get him on the vet minimum for being a receiving tight end with putting up, 200 yards twice in his career.
Yeah. Crazy.
Dude, Adam Trautman has the best spin team out there. They're like, listen. Who? Adam Trautman, he's got the best spin PR team. They say, listen, man.
I don't agree.
Dude, you suck at playing football, man. But we're going to just talk you up as a blocking tight end for your entire career. That's going to get you paid way more than being a receiving guy because you'll never get paid for that because you can't do it.
David, I got to disagree with you there because I have been in those comment sections on a certain Broncos YouTube show, and they are talking like I'm from another planet with the way I talk about one of the guys who we have not re-signed yet. So, yes, while Adam Trautman's PR team it's good, I would say, there is another player whose name is the same as mine, is the same as that guy's first name, that has an absolute legendary God squad of PR.
Yeah. He does, at least locally. Nationally, though, you look at the NFL free agent rankings and all, anybody that's national, they don't even mention Singleton anywhere close in the top 100. He's you have to Google them and they're probably NR, not ranked, But here, dude, people are no, we have to bring him back. Inspirational. He had an inspirational story. And I thought the story last year was really cool. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Good for him.
His jersey.
But guess what doesn't actually matter on the field? Inspirational stories. You know, like I thought it was really cool that Russell Wilson went and visited the children's hospital and all the kids that were sick with cancer. I think it's an amazing thing. Doesn't change the fact that he was dog shit as a quarterback here. Like you have to have those things separate. And that's why I'm saying good for Adam Trautman in making this money. And it has nothing to do with him personally, obviously. So I think we all know that by now. But I don't care how good of a locker room leader he is or how much his teammates like him or how much I don't care. He's not good on the football field. He's not.
And hey, if you start to exert your leadership too much when you suck, we saw this with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to respect you, dude. We don't
like
need to make this a make-a-wish team, man. But
Yeah.
this is a good question. 9.5 guaranteed on that. Does that salvage any of this?
No. The bigger thing for me is not the money, it's the opportunity cost and the message you're sending to your team.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I agree with you 100%. Like the cap is probably $2.5-3 million this year, maybe $4 million. It's not going to be a lot. Like it's not going to change us. You know, if we wanted to sign, let's just say Romeo Dobbs before, and now we're not gonna. Like it's not gonna change that. But you're right. It's probably going to mean that we're not going to address tight end at least in free agency, which I don't think we are anymore. I think we can still address it in the draft, but even then, I think it'll be like a day 2 guy, more likely a day 3 dude.
Yeah. And, you know, there were a lot of tight ends that I really, really would have liked us to take a flyer on day 3. All right. Even if we had replaced Nate Atkins with a guy like Josh Cuevas, okay, he could be worse, but the upside is much greater. With Nate Atkins, you know what you're getting. And it's just, I would say at his best, he's an above average to fine blocker.
Yeah. And think about this too, man. Like, if the Broncos were to have gone out and signed Charlie Kolar, for example, and Daniel Bellinger, which would have been probably my dream signings in terms of free agents, more than and then likely in all those guys, because if you would have gotten those 2 dudes, and you're like, and even if we cut Evan Ingram at that point, and we just said Charlie Kolar, Daniel Bellinger, okay, cool. At least you go into the draft, and now someone like Eli Stowers is a fit because you're not going to need him to block. You just need him to be a mismatch nightmare. You're opening up a lot more options for the types of tight ends that actually would fit for you because you've gotten one key piece of blocking down. So that's another thing is like we could have taken a swing, but now it's like we have to have a very specific type of tight end, and tight ends already are so limited in terms of just effective ones in the draft. And so you're just shortening that pool even more, you know, but again, also Kolar and Bellinger would have made Evan Ingram a lot better as well if we hypothetically kept them. So it's like there's the whole roster building kind of domino effect. You can't just look at it like Adam Trautman as a singular signing. There's a lot that you know, would a ripple effect that would come from that. So
Mark, we have a quote from Adam Trautman on his new deal, thanks to Chris Thomason, who did correct it. It is now 3 years for $17 million. Okay.
Oh, thank God. All right.
Okay. Via Chris Thomason, Adam Trautman on the deal, quote, "I do feel like I earned it, and I feel like it matches what the market is for someone like me. I had a bunch of other teams that were really interested in me, so that definitely helped out, but obviously I wanted to come back to Denver." And I did double check. This is the real Chris Thomason Twitter account. This is a real quote from Adam Trautman.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, man, like
I'll put it in the private chat if you want to put it up.
The types of media spins that you get from agents and players, and you see a lot, it's mostly in the NFL, it happens in all sports, is the same that you get in politics. Like I can almost guarantee you a lot of these PR people had political backgrounds as well. Like they'll just be able to really flip it. But the problem is they still don't do like as good of a job of trying to make it obvious. Like they literally just insult our intelligence. They're like, oh my God, you know, like a regular person that doesn't really watch the Broncos, like, oh, cool. Okay. So he chose Broncos. That's really cool. You know, a lot of other teams wanted him, but like, even if you're someone that you don't even have to be a diehard, you just watch this team every single week during the season and you don't really follow much, you'd know, like, I don't think there was really a lot of teams that were looking for you, because if they were, you probably wouldn't have signed the contract and you would have seen
watch the other teams that were probably in on him or interested in him. It was probably bad teams, dude. Like I don't know. The New York Jets, the Giants. I don't know. I'm just looking around.
I have an idea. I think it was probably the Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders being like, all right, where are the Broncos weak? All right, we need to make them make a move by themselves. And they were probably calling Adam Trautman's agency, like, we are going to offer you like whatever you want. The Chiefs were probably just like, you're going to be the Kelsey replacement. So the Broncos were probably just like, ooh, we have to pony up. And I think that's ultimately what it was. I think the other suitors were AFC West GMs, Hortiz, Veach, and Spytek being like, Broncos, please re-sign him. Please re-sign him. It's the only area where you suck on offense. I mean, Jaleel and Bidet suck too, but at least we know we're probably going to address that. Tight end, it seems like we're fine with being dog shit.
Yeah. Again, it's just the make-a-wish position. That's what it is. Man, these guys just wish they were good enough to get in the NFL, and they just made a good friend, man. These guys do not belong on an NFL field, particularly for a Super Bowl contender. It's embarrassing.
Dude, the comments in that Chris Thomas tweet are good though. They're
Wait,
killing. They're killing right now.
You should
Huh?
screen share. Wait,
Yeah, they're
you
good.
screen
They're
share.
like, oh, there's just like a bunch of gifs.
I feel like I earned it, dude, by having one of the biggest whiff block rates in the NFL this year.
That's one of them. Totally.
Yeah, totally. Shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And then I had told him a bunch of other teams, and then the other teams, like, guaranteed there was no, like, dude, stop it. Like,
I'm
just stop
retweeting
it.
that.
Dude. Come on. A bunch of other teams. How old is Adam Trautman, by the way?
I think
29. All right. At least he's 29. He just turned 29.
Yeah, about to go into his age 30 season, or
Mhm.
yeah, Moneyball Broncos. That's what Tommy's calling us. Moneyball Broncos. That's what we are, man. We're betting on the power of friendship this year. Not
And again,
talent.
it worked. It worked for us, man. It worked for us.
When we really needed to come together through the power of friendship, when our franchise quarterback went down, you saw how that went.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of backups, what do we do with our current backup? Do we save the $6 million?
Dude, I am standing firm on this. I'm standing firm on this. You're cutting Jared Stidham right now and signing Tua for the minimum. You're doing it.
Yeah. I know I jumped on you on the chat right away. I was like, hell no. But like, it would make sense. I'd rather have Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson,
I don't know. Something about Tua, man. Like, I feel like he's not necessarily a guy that vibes with a lot of dudes in the locker room. And I also think he should just retire because those concussions that he had. But yeah, I mean, you could save quite a bit of money by moving on from Stiddy and going with somebody else. I mean, there would be worse options. I feel like Sean Payton would never would never have a left-handed quarterback on his team. He's so meticulous and particular about everything. And like, it throws off, even though it's the tiniest little thing that it changes, I feel like it would drive him nuts to have to, like, you have a quarterback that comes in and, like, in his mind, everything would have to be reversed and flipped because it's a left-handed quarterback.
Maybe that's why we'll draft that Taylon Green instead of Cole Payton. Cole Payton's interesting, man. I know you've been talking about him too, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cole Payton is interesting, dude. He looks like he's a baller, and so does that kid from Georgia Tech.
Oh yeah, why am I blanking on
Haynes
his name?
King?
Yeah.
Haynes King is his name.
Dude,
yeah,
he's tough.
he looks like he could be like somebody that Sean would like, in kind of the in a really unique role in a way. I mean, I feel like he's pretty fun too. But Taylon Green, that dude blew it up at the combine, man.
It did. Oh my goodness. I just saw this comment. How did I skip over this? Monarchist02 at 9:55 p.m. says, Stowers, Raritan, or Delp save this dog shit room. The problem is, Monarchist, you're going to get our head coach 13 out of the 17 weeks of the year being like, well, the reason we didn't deploy Stowers is because, even though he has, a 80-yard touchdown on 2 snaps, this upcoming week was game plan specific. So we had to make sure that our guys were in there to, really just execute our game plan. It's the same. It's the Marvin Mims thing. He's going to go to the podium on Wednesday. He's going to be like, yeah, we're going to get him the ball more. Then suddenly Troutman's going to have like an 80% snap share. And then everybody's going to be like, what happened? Well, it was game plan specific. We're just in this cycle over and over again. And we've already done that at wide receiver. We don't need to move that problem to the tight end.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly right. That's just how the spin would be. That's exactly how it would be. Oh man. Well, fellas, everybody in the chat's been awesome. You guys have been dope. Please make sure
in case you guys need to know right now, we forgot to put out this disclaimer, Mark, that right now the Broncos, they can only re-sign their players that they're losing in free agency. So don't be too mad, right?
Yeah, exactly. We had no idea.
It seems like every beat reporter's been putting that out there. Don't be upset with the Broncos. They can only re-sign their own players.
Yeah, they can't sign anybody yet. That starts tomorrow. Like, yeah, dude, we know.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, you're choosing these scrubs over the guys of tomorrow.
That's literally the problem. That's why I'm so pissed. It's not like the Broncos were banned from free agency this year. They're like, no, Broncos can't be in free agency. We're like, all right, well, screw it. I guess we have no choice. That's why we're irritated, because it does start tomorrow, and we waited until 13 hours before it started to sign our guys.
We were so close. Everything was going according to the plan.
Yep.
It was all lining up.
Oh, dude, and when Sternad signed today, I was like, sweet. Great. I like it. I thought that was a great signing, great contract, good player. I was like, all right, this still gives us a lot of flexibility. You could go a multitude of ways. You can draft a linebacker. It would make sense. You could sign Devin Lloyd. It would make sense. You could trade Dre Greenlaw. There was a bunch of different things. And then all of a sudden you're like, they're trying hard to get Singleton. Oh man, maybe they're trying hard to negotiate against the 39 NFL teams that don't exist that are going to try to.
It's like the CFL that was negotiating for Adam Trautman.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, we can't lose him to the
San
Toronto
Antonio
Argonauts.
The San Antonio Brahmos and the Birmingham Stallions were having a huge bidding war for Adam Trautman. So when he talks about, a lot of teams wanted him, he didn't specify NFL teams. Let's see if he still has college eligibility out there. Maybe he would get paid with NIL.
They're letting that be a thing now.
Yeah, or Paxton Lynch in the Arena Football League. Man, the Colorado Spartans or whatever they're called. Man, I feel like him and Paxton Lynch would have torn it up. I feel like if I was the GM of the Colorado Spartans, I'd probably say like, all right, we could take a flyer on this guy. I probably wouldn't spend $5 million on him, but I'd probably be like, all right, vet minimum in the Arena Football League. And that's the Arena Football League we're talking about, folks, not the NFL.
Yep. Look at this, guys. We have more from Chris Thomason. I had a good amount, 4 or 5 teams that were pretty heavy on me. I'm sure the Broncos wanted to avoid getting to tomorrow when negotiating starts because it's just then a bidding war at that kind of point. So here's my thing, okay? How the hell? Okay, I thought tampering started tomorrow. I thought legal tampering started tomorrow. So we've obviously known that's always been kind of a facade, but how would you know that? Like, is your agent calling around and be like, would you be interested in my client? And then they're like, yeah. Okay. Like, dude, I don't get it. Like, everyone can be like, yeah, we would be interested. Maybe like they're either saying it to try to make the Broncos sign a deal, or they're just bullshitting all this, because if the NFL actually was about like the legal tampering, or at least, you can't like get too much information, which we also know is fake, then like those kinds of things would never even come out. But they're just blatantly being like 4 or 5 teams that were heavy on me and they didn't want to get it to tomorrow. Then why wouldn't you want to get it to tomorrow if it's going to be a bidding war?
Yeah,
exactly.
Because you're going to make more money. And if you really wanted to just be in Denver, then you would have seen all the offers and taken Denver's, even if it was less. It makes no sense. Like, I can't believe people will eat that up.
No, and like you said, it is a tough job being a beat reporter, because you do have to sell, you do have to be the mouthpiece of the team. You do have to maintain relationships. But at the end of the day, you can't pull what Kliss did, not to call him out, but you can't just be like, well, the fantasy football people are going to be mad about this. You know why? Because remember 3 years ago when Kyle Pitts was like getting like 2 snaps a game and Jonnu Smith was getting like all of them? And all the beat reporters in Atlanta were just like, well, what'd you do? What was your plan with your 4th overall tight end if you weren't going to involve him in the offense? And he was just like, let the fantasy football people worry about that, as if it's not an invalid question from just a bystander to be like, was this worth it? Was this worth the opportunity cost? Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. Just because Stephen A. Smith is the head of sports media. That should tell you everything you need to know about sports media. You don't know more because you're more plugged in. You don't.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No.
Absolute fact, man. And again, like, why haven't the Broncos signed John Franklin Myers? I bet you if they were to go to the negotiating table and want to get a deal done with John Franklin Myers, him and his agent would have been like, nah, dude, this dude's going to be coveted. We're going to free agency because we're trying to drive this thing up, because that's what good agents do that have players that are actually popular. They're like, no, man, like, I think you're going to give more than this. Let's see what the market says. And then they do that. They don't sign with a team because they're like, anytime you hear, I had a lot of other opportunities, but I wanted to stay in Denver. There wasn't really any opportunities. And if there were, there was the same exact cost.
Reminds me of that one time the owner was interviewing a chef at my job, and he was just like, well, I turned down a couple of other opportunities because I wanted to be here. I was like, all right, bro, you're writing the unemployment line because you really wanted to be in this restaurant, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Oh,
the perfect analogy. It's like, no, who are you kidding me? We had a whole lot of different suitors. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
No. And I bet the 4 or 5 teams, if that is true, which we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that it is true, I bet the 4 or 5 teams that were in on him were just like, all right, the vet minimum, would you be interested? You know,
exactly.
Fringe 53, maybe practice squad, like game day
context
elevation.
is very important.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the Broncos saw that, probably heard 4 or 5 teams, and they were just like, wow, we really got to get this shit done.
Yeah. I bet you 4 or 5 teams are like, I mean, yeah, we'd be interested in bringing you in for the minimum. You know, they're like, oh, cool. All right, they're interested.
Yeah, then they see what he got signed for.
Bring that back to George.
Yeah, exactly. And then they see what he got signed for, and they're just laughing at the Broncos. They're just like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Never trust a man with no eyebrows. We should have known.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Juwan, who is the right tackle? Juwan James?
James.
He had alopecia. He didn't have no eyebrows either, bro. Couldn't trust his ass.
Yeah, he played with 4 snaps for us. Guys, I'm sorry. I got to sign off, but y'all keep cooking.
No, I gotta head off too, man. You guys
it's probably time to call it anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, you guys were all awesome. We had like over 442 still on the stream. We had 400 strong all night. You guys are dope. It's probably because David's on here and David's channel usually gets cooking, but we appreciate you guys. Please make sure you subscribe to all the channels.
Yes, they're in the description.
Easiest thing that you could do to help support us. We are excited tomorrow, guys, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, Horsepower Hour. Hopefully it'll be not a crash out. Hopefully it'll be a lot more positive. We'll have some fun news to talk about. So hope to see you guys then. And I'm going to sign off, man. Hope you guys have a wonderful night.
We'll see you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Peace.